And a great big hey, howdy, hello, all my goofy goobers out there. Welcome to Animanic with Comic Auzi. What was that?
And DF.
Ah, okay. And,
well, we had to use some fancy language here, so why not gorilla?
Oh. Yes, because tonight we are going to be watching the Disney animated classic based on the book of the same name, Tarzan. So,
well, Tarzan of the Apes is the name of the first book.
Right. Much like Jungle Book, there's multiple books, and they not really the title in the movie. The title in the movie more
There's
so.
There's like 27 of them.
Yeah.
There's a whole series.
It's a whole thing.
I only went through 1.5 of them.
For my familiarity is the Disney movie, and I like it. I liked it growing up. I definitely got a kick out of it. Good. Great action, good comedy, the animation's beautiful, and now to toss it over to my beautiful girlfriend to talk about the book for a moment, because you were telling me, the other night about, like, how the book is definitely the movie very different.
Yes, I go into full detail in my Beauties and Beasts podcast, which you can find the video on my channel where I go over the whole story, at least of the first book. I wasn't going to go through all 27 books.
And if I don't already have the link to her channel in the description below, let me know, because I need to fix that.
Yeah. The long and the short of it is that Disney made it better. They took out the racist bits, and there were quite a lot of them. And while the book was about a lot more action-based, while there is action, the focus is really on the emotion behind it, which I appreciate. There's more emotion in this than the book.
I think that's definitely a fair assessment. Not that I know anything
Tarzan
about the book.
and Jane's relationship is way less creepy. Which is saying something. Because anyone going to this movie for the first time and not really getting it from the context might think it's creepy. Now, compared to the book, it's way less creepy. Yeah.
Maybe be honest, animated meet-cutes can be a lot sillier, more over the top. Which I think is the perfect point to mention. You guys got to get your copies ready. If you're watching it on Disney Plus, it does have the classic 90s logo, as Squad said further back there. So everybody get your copies ready, and I'll just detail on saying that, I mean, we had like the Great Mouse Detective, where they were tracing CGI references. And then we had like Oliver and Company, where they were basically straight up using the wireframes from the CGI directly and just printing those directly Xeroxing those onto celluloid directly. And then they did the same thing in A Little Mermaid. By the time we got to Rescue Is Down Under, they were just full on using the computer for everything. And then Beauty and the Beast was able to do that beautiful painted looking ballroom. Similarly in like Hunchback and with the Wildebeest Stampede, kind of probably the best. Like the Wildebeest Stampede was probably, like, aside from Aladdin's Cave of Wonders sandy tiger head, the Wildebeest are probably some of the best 3D animated characters, you know, up to this point, right? Like, for lack of a better way of putting it. Alternatively, the Huns, probably the most advanced of the CGI peoples that they did. Yes, Deep Canvas. Deep Canvas was a brand new program created for this movie that was basically able to do, like, the magic carpet from Aladdin. In a way, it was like it was able to put a painting, like you could paint like the textures and it would map it onto a 3D model, which is how they got all the tree branches and stuff to look as badass as they do. And I think that's about enough to talk about it beforehand, so that we can all get into it. I'm pretty sure everybody's got their
I forgot to mention, I've also seen the stage version of this in German.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was an
offshoot. I knew the story enough to follow along.
And that was an offshoot of the Disney version, because they use a lot of the Phil Collins songs in that version.
Yeah.
probably the improvement that the characters themselves are singing them, of course.
Oh yeah,
Because
I mean the opening is so cool.
Because it makes more sense. Well, yeah, Scribe. I'm pretty sure they did study apes and gorillas for this film. Like, they literally brought lion cubs into the studio for The Lion King. I'm pretty sure they definitely studied. I'm pretty sure they definitely studied the animals.
Yes,
for the movie.
That's another thing this movie gets right that the book doesn't. They actually studied the gorillas. They're just kind of wild animals in the books. Even Tarzan's so-called family.
Which ain't right, you know, because like the opening song says, 2 worlds, 1 family. It's like, the whole point is that it's like you think that these are just savage, monstrous creatures because they got sharp teeth and a temper the size of Donald Duck's. But, you know, aside from that, it's like, they're just as much family, like mothers and fathers and brothers and cousins and all that, as, you know,
anytime they're
any
aggressive
other family.
in this movie... Anytime they're aggressive in this movie, you know why they're aggressive.
It's protection.
It's not, like, for no reason.
It's always a sense of protecting their family. Ryder, when you say the series, are you talking about the TV series? Because
yeah, I think so. Yeah, the animated TV series that Disney did, which should be on Disney Plus,
along with Aladdin and all the other missing ones. What else are they missing? There had to be like another movie.
Series like makes a lot more references to the book than this movie does. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot to work with. 27 books.
True. I mean, it's entirely the reason why. I'm pretty sure, like, there was a completely different studio that did a CGI Jungle Book animated series for kids. Which, I mean, like, there's a lot of source material, so you could definitely do a lot with that. So, if nothing else, I think we are ready to begin. Everybody get your copies all squared up. I'm about to hit the play button. Doing the countdown now. In 3, 2, 1, go. Turn on the subtitles.
This is another movie that I remember seeing in theaters. We got, for a while, we had like this straw that with Tarzan's head on it. This squiggly straw, and if you suck through it, it would go. Oh!
And that right there,
it was one of my favorite.
That's
straws.
why you need the '90s logo, because it's kind of baked into the opening title.
Okay, so this whole opening.
Yeah.
In the books, I'm glad they fixed it, because in the books they were marooned by, well, the black crew that had. You need the ship. Yeah. Like, let's make it a fire, and then we don't have to insult black people everywhere.
We don't have to insult anybody. It's just the ship is on fire. We don't know how it happened.
Oh, yeah. Like, they pretty much cut through, like, 7 or so chapters with this whole opening number.
That's interesting. Especially since when people go to see a Tarzan movie, don't you think some of them might be thinking of the MGM film? Which, like, I don't know the MGM film, but don't they kind of like... They probably would have cut right to the whole...
I know that they had an Olympic swimmer play Tarzan, and, you know, when I saw the clips of that, I'm like, oh, come on. He would not be swimming like an Olympic swimmer if he learned to swim in the jungle. And I'm a swim instructor, so I'm like, he's swimming too perfectly. I hate it.
To be perfectly honest,
you could tell that's his dad. You could really tell that's his dad.
Yeah, you can definitely see it because, like, especially when you see that jawline later.
Yeah, this whole thing about Colin Kirchhoff having a cub was in the book.
Oh yeah.
But then, yeah. So that was. Oh, but I love how we don't see much of Tarzan's parents, but we see that they work together.
There's that deep canvas at work with the lifting of the window frame. I love that they're using pieces of the wrecked ship, by the way. That's just really clever.
Oh my gosh. He's chasing a poisonous frog too. That
poor
gorilla
innocent child.
I think Sabor was actually a lion in the books, but of course we wouldn't have a lion out here.
You wouldn't have a lion in Africa. And unlike some dum-dums who think that the Jungle Book took place in Africa, which it did not, this movie does. Jungle Book takes place in India. Some people think it takes place in Africa for some reason. I'm not sure why.
It's like, does Mowgli's skin tone not tip it off at least a little bit? Or the fact that they included tiger?
Exactly. There are no tigers in Africa. Like, there are no piranhas in Africa either. Oh, there's that deep canvas. Look at that. Look at the way that door opened. That was so tight, so clean. Also, gotta admire the balls, the cojones on whoever thought in the story department, no, we need to see some semblance of the dead parents. You know, like we see it in a minute. Like we see some blood, but I think we also see like their bodies. I think like we see like an arm lopped out, like out of frame, like when Snow White dropped the apple.
We got it. Well, here it comes.
Ah, yep, there they are. There. Good lord.
It's just enough that I actually didn't remember seeing. I didn't remember seeing their bodies as kids.
Neither did I, and I saw this movie. I saw this movie in theaters too because I had this very distinct memory of like waking up and the credits were rolling like on a giant movie screen. So it's like we definitely saw it a few times. My mother loved this movie. That's how often like we went at least a few times. Remember when we had disposable income? Oh, 90s. God, the friggin' 3D, I mean, they essentially had to model all of that, right? Like the shape of the curtain, not just painting it to look like it's a shape. Because you can see it move in 3 dimensions. That takes a lot of effort, especially for a studio. I mean, sure, they're probably working pretty closely with Pixar to figure this shit out because, you know, Pixar's made at least 2 movies for them by now. This is adorable.
Yeah, I know, like, this scene is just so well done. It's like, I mean, so it's like, how would a gorilla interact with a human baby if they never seen humans before?
I mean, for lack of a better phrase, baby see, baby do.
And just that moment, she's like, well, there's nobody else around here.
It's like, who's gonna take, like, it's alive, it's hairless.
And you know, it's a common trope that, you know, after a mother animal loses their child, they will take in an abandoned baby of another species. It still happens today. Like, Cat loses her kitten, she took in some baby ducks. Yeah,
I was gonna say, is like, imagine if she just met a duck up here. It's so cute.
Oh. The fact that the focus on the hand. Oh, no.
I love how distinct the melodies of the songs are, because you can really hear the instrumental of You'll Be in My Heart here. Probably even more distinctly and clearly. Like, even though we're talking over and we're talking over each other, we can hear distinctly what the song is in. Ah, shit!
The boy was really just hanging out up there.
I mean, Tarzan was going to be the midday snack, clearly.
I know, but what?
It's, yeah. Good lord. This was always kind of nerve-wracking, even as a kid, because it's like, holy shit.
The baby's just having the time of its life.
Baby doesn't know it's in peril.
It's no wonder Tarzan knows no fear.
She even got scratched up a little bit there.
Look what happened to him as a baby.
Oh my god.
I mean, the fact that he does all these brilliant things when he gets older.
Yeah. Woo.
I mean, look what he did as a baby. He just kind of. This was always funny.
Oh. Slick thinking. It was always so clever to me as well. It's like, ingenuity. With the little nappy there. Well. One does what must
I had a McDonald's toy of Kala taking baby Tarzan in the boat there.
I mean, ain't that just the way to
You know
do
when
it?
McDonald's toys were cool?
Yeah, right?
I loved how they did this opening. I loved how they did this opening in the stage show where like everybody was on a harness essentially.
I mean, that certainly makes Tarzan a very complicated production to put on. The way she growled at Sabor was definitely the Disney family-friendly gorilla equivalent of flipping him off.
There's baby Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
And Glenn Close, which is a big deviation from her Cruella de Vil role.
Yeah.
Turkina, that's her full name.
Yeah.
Okay, so the closest thing to Turk in the books is Turkaz, who was male and also Tarzan's rival. So really all they share in common is the first syllable of their name.
Yeah, pretty much.
This movie also, well, for lack of a better term, humanized Kerchak.
Yeah.
Kerchak really was just awful. Tarzan even kills Kerchak in the books.
Yes, I actually heard that was a thing that happened. No.
Yeah. I mean, you know that Kerchak's harsh, but you know he's grieving too. Yeah. They make yeah. Most people didn't know Turk was a girl at first. Make fun of that in the series. Yeah. Even Tantor's like, "Wait, you're a girl?" Yes, I'm a girl.
So many people didn't realize. I mean,
like,
that's a pretty straightforward beginning for a character arc. But also it works. It works. It establishes things.
Which actually in their language means white skinned, which they don't say in here. Yeah.
She's really trying to
in
make
the
a case for
book,
herself.
Kala told Tarzan that his father was a white ape, and that's why he never questioned why he was so different.
Yeah. I really appreciate that.
Although she
doesn't really go to those lengths in this. Because we'll get to that whole moment later.
Yeah, but it was like also to explain why Kerchak didn't like him.
Yeah. This is absolutely great.
You seem so strong.
Yeah.
Although I will say the movie doesn't take this. Because the book does explain that Tarzan grows at a slower rate than the gorilla children, but they apparently don't do that in this movie.
It's a suspension of disbelief sort of thing. It more so just kind of, that's beautiful. That's really
meanwhile,
clever
it looks
visual.
like that. You know, we got Turk as a reference point. Turk seems to be growing at the same rate as Tarzan.
I think that's what we're meant to infer. I mean, sure, like realistically, like. This kind of sets the precedent of the gorillas aging the same as humans rather than the other way around. Which, I mean, like, it's a cartoon. I think we come to accept that kind of idea from a cartoon. Like, dogs don't just live for the short time period. Dogs will live just as long as humans, you know? It's like, that's kind of cartoon logic for you.
Yeah, I'm just saying...
It's animated, you don't think about it.
Well, the book as a story was kind of meh. It did get some realism in there, like Tarzan was actually very, very hairy and didn't start shaving until he saw books of men without their beards.
That's true. Maybe it's just that Tarzan can't grow a beard or chest hair. That's just a thing.
It could be an evolutionary bit. I don't know. Maybe the sun just burned off all his body hair.
I love them establishing Tarzan's affinity for impressions.
Yeah, early on. Because it's important in the climax, too.
True.
Yeah, come up with your own sound.
True.
I always thought little baby Tarzan was cute.
I mean, he is. Look at this little big-headed... I mean, he's like a bobblehead. He's adorable. Here she is.
Yeah.
I mean, Rosie O'Donnell's voice here specifically also sounds kind of, you know, just kind of boyish. That's, like, why it doesn't, like, necessarily come across.
I remember in the series where Turk is like, "Oh, I'm going out. I'm getting out of the hole. Ladies first." Wait, she's a lady? Oh no! I was like her friends, you know, those guys. Okay, one of them is the voice of Max.
Yeah.
I think it's a smaller one.
You know, something I'm noticing is a tiny detail. She does have little, you know, little eyelashes shoot off, kind of like the classic cartoon design where you just like, the male cartoon character just has eyes. The female cartoon character has eyes and just one line coming off the edge. You'll notice that Turk has that. You can see that. She's like off the edge there.
Yeah, I think the smaller one is the voice of Max in a Goofy movie.
Yeah, who would that, what's his name? Woof.
Or is it the other one? I don't know. I can't tell. I'm trying to figure it out. Which one's Max?
He was also one of the voices of Arnold from Hey Arnold. Jason Marsden. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, Max / Kovu. Oh, peer pressure.
Yeah.
It took me a couple years to realize that Turk was making this up as she went along.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of get it. That, you know, she's like the only girl in the group and she wants to fit in and she doesn't want her weird cousin ruining it.
Yeah. Ooh. Woof. That's just, yeah, that would be painful.
Yeah, you vaguely see the eyelashes on Turk. Like
very vaguely.
Gorillas have eyelashes. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But boys are actually the ones with thicker eyelashes.
In real life, yes, that is definitely true. I mean, obviously, the whole cartoonism is to mimic, like, makeup and false lashes and shit, but it's like...
Now, see, that is how someone learns to swim in the jungle.
Yeah, just kind of makes it up as he goes. Actually, later it infers, like, he learns more so from a Tantor and the other elephants how to swim properly.
I'm trying to remember. I think Tantor was mentioned in the book, but, like, only barely. Tantor the elephant.
Yeah.
Tantor is so cute.
Really cute.
Meanwhile, that voice, she's been in a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm trying to place it.
Welcome to Mecca's Meat Hut. Emperor's New Groove.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's a slight anachronism. There's no way they would have actually know what South America was.
Again, it's a cartoon.
Hold on, why is my voice still going?
What do you mean your voice still going?
I don't know. Like I'm seeing my avatar lighting up at random times.
I wouldn't worry about it.
It's happened before, so I'm not sure.
God, if this wasn't already super tense.
I mean, that's dangerous.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you are. Woof.
Yeah, you mentioned one of the Hey Arnold's voice actors, but I'm like, which one? There was like 4 of them.
That's what happens when you have characters that don't age and then you get actual young children to voice them. It's why I think I'll almost always make the case for having older women play young boys and things, because it's a voice that's gonna last longer, you know?
Yeah, so yeah, we see that from Kerchak, that despite him being a grump, he does care about his family. I always loved Turk and Tantor's little friend banter. It's like, and you still got the hair. Yeah, realistically, the elephant, the gorilla, and the human would not be aging at the same rate. Likely one of them would have been dead by the time Tarzan was an adult.
Ooh.
He really just wants approval from his the only father figure he's known.
I mean, and that's the thing, is like, she never really tells him where he's from, but they also can't really sugarcoat the fact that he's adopted. He doesn't look like any of them in the slightest. Because, like, the only thing that's important to Kala is that she can protect him and that he's her son. And this is a great moment right here. God.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like this whole... He just can't grapple with the fact that he just doesn't look like any of them.
They also looked into how children who are adopted feel, especially when you're adopted by parents who are not of your race.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, that's some Lion King shit. Aw.
She is a mom.
How can you? Aw.
I'll need to hug my mom after this.
You know.
I love the motif of the hands in this movie.
Kala is
from
Mother
the start,
Goals.
from the baby with the hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how it comes into play later when he meets with Jane.
Yep.
Now, remember this scene when we get the Tarzan and Jane meeting, and then it's less creepy with context.
Right? Yeah. And this is the motivational...
Yeah, I remember there was a moment in the musical which really showed how Kala and Kerchak were just so estranged since Tarzan was adopted, but they still loved each other. Just
okay. And that's a problem. It's not so much that every song is sung by Phil Collins, but what the hell was that transition? It's like that's something that like Howard Ashman instilled in the Disney musical is that you want to make the transition into songs as seamless as possible. With You'll Be in My Heart, it was perfect. Yeah. But like here, it's just kind of smash cut. It's kind of mood whiplash in a way. The song's great and the montage is beautiful.
I liked how they did it in the musical, and you know, because it was in German, I didn't get every lyric, but I did get that like Son of Man, because it was like Sohn dem Mann or something like that.
Right. German is very straightforward in that way. Oh.
Yeah, and you know how they had this little kid actor just swinging on the vine, and he keeps trying and trying.
Yeah.
Until eventually, in swings the big Tarzan.
Yeah.
And he's getting taller.
We get the in-between age Tarzan here.
Little preteen looks like.
It was an
itty bitty tusk tattooer.
Yeah.
And here we got Wayne Knight.
Yeah.
Evil Emperor Zurg. And we see him using his wit as well as his strength, getting around his lack of strength compared to gorillas.
Right. He's building up his own
and learning
muscles.
From all the unknowingly using the human instinct to use tools and such.
Yeah. So
that was something that was touched upon. That was something that was touched upon in the books too. Him using tools to make up for his lack of physical size and strength.
This is where the deep canvas really came into play by making, like, they wanted to differentiate this Tarzan from the typical vine swinging Tarzan, and then when they thought, like, wait a minute, what if we could just have him like surfing, like just skating on these vines? It's kind of perfect.
Okay, so his vine surfing moves were inspired by Tony Hawk, the skateboarder.
Right. I love that as a callback to the earlier scene.
I should mention that in the book, Kala also dies. Nope. So I'm glad they didn't kill her off in this. I just love, like, they really are cousins.
I also love how everybody was picking up the food, picking up the baby, and it's like, oh, we know that they're doing it. We know that they're just rolling on through.
They're roughhousing.
Also gotta love Rosie O'Donnell's improv here. Like, she's definitely just going off, cramping the calf.
Kala addresses Turk like Bella addresses Cosmic. An open. Now that is that's jump scare.
That's mood whiplash in a good way. Jump scare, essentially. Yeah, it's like, it's just, let's take the scene that seems like, oh, everything's normal, but Tarzan has a feeling that there's something not normal, create some tension, and then boom, leopard jumps out.
Okay, so this scene is very important. I mean, Tarzan does fight a lot of beasts in the books, and some is just kind of him, fighting. But this is important because he unknowingly is defeating the leopard that had killed his parents, and also the one that killed Kerchak's baby.
Yeah. It's like, there is a major
remember, he doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know what happened.
Yeah, that's at
this point.
What we basically see is, it's like, for Tarzan, it doesn't matter who this leopard is what matters is that it threatened his friend and family in this instant. And he's like, I can do something about this. Or at the very least, he tries.
There's the poster shot.
Yep. Ooh.
Yeah, and you know
First
he's also
blood
doing it
to
in
you, Tarzan.
and he does it using a man-made weapon.
One that he basically constructed himself. Hey, first blood still went to Tarzan, so a lot of he's still scarred up there.
Tarzan's probably also the real epitome of non-toxic masculinity.
Oh yeah, no, like he's just a guy doing his best. He's built up the muscle and dexterity. You know, he kind of has the body build that I would really prefer to see out of an adult Spider-Man. He's very strong, but also very slender and scrawny, where he can like jump around. You know, it's like boing boing, jump around like a little jumping spider. That's kind of.
Yeah, you're right.
Especially Teenage Spider-Man gets that a lot. I mean, we watched the Spider-Man cartoon, Spectacular Spider-Man, a while ago. Like, his design there is like, he's got muscle, but he's also very slender and springy. It's like, that's a Spider-Man. And that's Tarzan here.
Yeah, also the way they do his feet. How, you know, his toes are kind of little more like a gorilla's because of all the time he spent walking like a gorilla.
Yep. And also...
Now, this scream... The actor could not pull off this scream. It's actually Clayton's voice actor.
But talk about being able to just, you know, make that work, right? Because it's kind of the equivalent of yodeling. It's like, you can have a character yodel, and as long as the voice actor who's doing the yodeling at least sounds similar enough to the voice of the character. Sure you were, Turk.
So, I was saying, Tarzan actually learned how to read and write English, well, on his own somehow, but then learned how to speak French before he learned how to speak English. Because he rescued a French soldier, and while he was healing, like, they couldn't communicate very well, so he started teaching him French. This is a good moment.
Yeah.
And you know, Kerchak's like, yeah. And Tarzan, you know, he presents the body to him just sort of like, you know, I'm not trying to show you up. I did this for you.
And it's like,
but then,
God, Tantor. I do love the moment, like, before it gets interrupted, you see Kerchak actually having some respect for Tarzan. And curse his curiosity.
His scars a throw look. I think, actually, and I don't remember whether it was Sabor, but Tarzan, I think at some point skinned an animal and made into like a cloak. Yeah, Tarzan's pretty nasty in the books.
Hey, look, shotgun shell. Which means Clayton's just cocking open that thing and re-shelling it like so many times. Yeah, the gunpowder in the inside of metal wouldn't exactly taste very good.
Okay, so Clayton actually wasn't really much a villain in the book. He was in love with Jane, and Jane liked him too. So, but he wasn't malicious or anything. The Clayton in the book actually was a pretty stand-up guy, but eventually Jane went with Tarzan.
Tell us, what was Africa created for? Mr. White Boy.
They make him more... Yeah, they make him more like this old douchebag in this.
What's great is that the jawline between Clayton and Tarzan is kind of similar. Not identical, but similar. It's like the way their jaw juts forward and the way they got to define.
As for Professor, he's pretty much like how he is in the book, except a bit more oblivious, even to danger. Although I should mention, Jane in the book is American.
Also, you know what's really funny?
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Jane in the book is American and much more of a damsel in distress.
By the way, I want to point out...
Yes. Go on, point it out.
So there's an animator who was actually in like there was a B team in France, like or maybe like there was a second team in Disney's French animation studio, who was responsible for a portion of the characters. Glenn Keane was leading it. So in France, they were like working on the Tarzan and some of those other characters. And Jane was worked on by a different studio. Like Disney was outsourcing at this point. And the animator for Jane, like, or at least an animator for Jane actually posted something on Instagram. It was this much funnier introduction for Jane that would have been so hilarious. Where she pops out of the jungle looking like she's pregnant, but then she finds it, and then she moves the bustle to the back of her dress. Honestly, it's like that's a pretty funny gag. That like I don't get why they didn't keep that. That was funny.
But yeah, but yes, Jane in the book was American and much more of a damsel in distress, and not as much of an intellectual as she is here.
She's definitely
Also, I should mention that she had a maid, I put in quotation marks.
Oh.
Yeah, and you know, being American, you know who that maid, what race that maid would have been. And she was exactly what you'd expect from an early 20th century black woman stereotype. You can understand why they cut her from this movie.
Yes, and the fact that she's not in the movie, well, frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I love what they do with Jane here. Like, I mean, obviously, she's initially not cut out for the jungle, but you know, she does. She's interested in the jungle. But you know, she's a Victorian English lady and has no idea how to navigate around here. At first, of course.
You asked.
Minnie Driver is just amazing.
And Jay's just a lot of fun. Her snark, her attitude, her intelligence, and she's a great artist. You know, like I think we undersell that. Like, she's a really good artist.
And you know, she may seem like she's just another girl that needs rescuing at first, but give her a break. She's never been in the jungle before. And it definitely changes towards the end. Yeah, she goes through character development. And you know, she knows how to establish her boundaries, and also know when she needs help.
Also, one of the things about Tarzan's toe gripping, not just in the surfing, but also on the vines here in a moment, is the Glenn Keane was like, how the hell am I going to make this work? And then as he was giving his wife a pedicure, she picked something up with her toes, just kind of like gripping with her toes like that. And it was like, huh, okay, that's how it's going to work. So he based Tarzan's feet off of his wife's feet.
Yes, Scribe, you're right. I didn't mention that part. Clayton actually turned out to be Tarzan's cousin.
That in the books, yeah.
You can kind of see it in the bone structure of their faces, though, too.
Maybe somebody decided to carry that detail over for the movie. Someone in the character design department was like,
yeah, this is also, a way better first meeting, first official meeting.
That is such a stylish, like, with the pure white blinding light from the outside of the log. I just that is so friggin' stylish.
I mean, you really can't blame it for screaming. This is like insane. Any normal person would be screaming.
Absolutely ludicrous. Yeah, just.
But it's better than how they actually first met. When Turkaz the gorilla kidnapped Jane to make her his mate. Tarzan beat Turkaz and then grabbed Jane and kissed her full on the mouth.
Yeah. She's trying. Like, give her the credit that she's making the effort.
Yeah, especially after she's just been through a potentially traumatic experience. Yeah, also, bear in mind, Victorian English lady, what would have prepared her for this?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, Tarzan. Had to go for the kick. He just doesn't. Boundaries, man.
Like he knows Annie. It's better than him kissing her full on the mouth like in the book. And of course, we're hitting him after it.
Just this moment right here.
I know, and she's like staring at him, having no idea what this is all about. But we, as the audience, know why this is important.
Both Sabor and Clayton dress in yellow and move like a. Actually, that's a very interesting thing to point out, Scribe. Is like that's.
But she's in yellow too.
Yeah, see, she, her father, and Clayton are all in yellow, but that changes over time. The heartbeat. Yeah.
Okay. He's not being a perv. He just wants to hear the heartbeat.
He's just.
It's just like, see, we're the same. That's what he's trying to say. Okay, so again with him mimicking sounds, this is how he's able to do this.
Yeah.
Of course, it begs the question of why he has an American accent.
Yeah. He probably should sound British,
because we learn. Yeah, no, we learn accents from the people we interact with. It's a social thing that we learn.
I love how this moment of like eye-opening like language barrier he's actually able to translate his name in a fashion. Here he does the British.
Yes, but they still do that in the musical. Like, even in German, we got that much.
Yeah.
Like, 9. Ich bin Jane Porter. Ich bin Jane Porter. No. 9. And him mimicking the rifle sound.
I only just now noticed that he was the one doing that. Cause they can't we walk? I mean.
I mean, it would have made sense if they'd kept Jane American, like, in the books, but...
well...
with the accents. And this is definitely what British people in Africa did. Look, Mrs. Potts and Chip.
That's probably the funniest little cameo.
And because of that tea set, and because of Jane being dressed in yellow and interested in books, there have been theories that Belle and Jane are related. Like,
what?
Like, it could happen. She could... Yes, Jane could very well be a descendant of Belle, and just at some point the family moved over to Britain.
Very easily, yeah.
You know, especially if you take into consideration the French Revolution, where a lot of French nobility escaped over to the English Channel.
Also want to point out that Maurice.
I'm sorry, I just went into a history rabbit hole there.
Also, Maurice's last name could easily have been Porter. Like, throwing that one out there. Like, we don't know Belle's last name.
It could have been Portier, but when they go to England, they change it to Porter at some point.
Yeah. And the only song that is actually sung, quote unquote, by characters in the movie. I mean, they are singing, but it's like there's no proper lyrics, and it's just kind of like them dicking around. Like, it doesn't even tell us about their wants or desires. They were searching for Tarzan, and they just kind of got friggin'
Yeah, this whole number was inspired by Stomp, which is popular at the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, you never saw like those stomp videos? They showed them all the time in my music class.
Honestly, I think I like this version because I feel like there's a lot more character in the vocals with just the Disney choir ensemble, you know? Instead of just Phil Collins again.
Also, because they say "do Bob we do" in the Instinct version, I'm like, it doesn't work.
It doesn't hit the same.
Phonetically, it doesn't
nice
work.
CGI on the. That was always a fun bit.
Skeletons. What was that skeleton?
The skeleton dance. The skeleton dance.
Yeah, I had a toy of Turk doing that you could do a cartwheel with the pans on the hands.
Nice. You know what was always fun is when they turned the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse into the Tarzan treehouse, and you could actually find the camp props like Mrs. Potts and Chip, and you can kind of like bang around on them like musical instruments and shit. It's kind of fun. Okay. Yeah, they just absolutely wreck shop here. And here he comes.
And then it looks like that they're just wrecking everything.
Because it really is what they're doing.
We shift from the animal perspective to the human perspective.
For them, it's just fun and games. For the humans, it's just kind of like you...
I love how we switch between how we see how Tarzan's hearing them and how, you know, all the other humans hear the gorillas.
Yeah. Because he knows what these grunts and screeches mean, but like they don't.
Turk's like, you found a girl. That looks like you. Oop. Yeah, I'd be like that too.
Yep.
Okay, so that is a legit survival technique. If you have like a big bear or something, and you just put your head on the ground and lay absolutely still. Yeah, what we get from that, Kerchak sells Tarzan on her, and he's like, yep. Tarzan!
He's like, are you kidding? Has to grab Turk. It's like, come on. Come on.
Yeah, and you know, Kala is also like, no. I don't want you to leave. With them. This whole monologue was improvised.
Yeah.
And apparently the animation took a very long time.
Yeah.
I always love that bit. the dad just rolls with this. I remember the professor in the books. There was one moment where he was rambling on, and then like one of the guys was like, there's a lion right there.
Tarzan the Ape Man, take a shot.
There's a lion right there. Oh, don't be silly. Anyway, blah 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 blah. Hey, let's go, Professor. He's a little. I mean, he's still kind of a goofier, but I'm glad he doesn't like ignore someone when they say, "Hey, there's a predator right behind you."
And there you are, right there.
Oof.
Because Kala never mentioned it at all, right? Like,
yeah.
Which, yeah,
he did. I mean, you know, he'd asked all that time that, like, why do I look so different?
He did ask. Imagine.
She is so good at drawing too.
Also,
Imagine being an animator drawing a character, drawing another character.
Yeah. But you'll notice right now she's wearing significantly less yellow already. In fact, she blends into the jungle, not unlike most animals would. Like her skirt
and her
matches
clothes
the grass.
are also more practical than what she was wearing before.
That's true. She's in a green skirt matching the grass and a yellow shirt matching the bamboo behind her. Yeah, she still sticks out in the background as well.
This is an adult joke.
I love this line right here.
Yeah. He's really one of the best Disney dads. He's not even saying she's crazy. He's just like, okay. Like, do you need a moment alone, darling?
And also very, very, like from all those years in the sun, you'll notice, like, his parents
I was about to say.
His parents are really white, and he's been tanned for years.
Yeah. At least that part makes lots of sense. Versus all the Tarzans they've cast in those live action movies.
Yeah.
I mean, don't blame them. I mean, you see the gorillas. They're like up close and personal all the time.
They are.
They're picking bugs off each other and roughhousing. I love how they portray them as scientists. Well, intensely looking for gorillas. Again, in the books, they were marooned by black mutineers. Yeah, they were too. Like, what was with all the what was all the black mutineers spanning over the years? I'm talking in the books, not in actuality.
Yeah.
Yeah, grooming is a form of socialization. That's why he keeps touching her hair like that.
looking for nits and bugs to eat. Now this is a much better transition of the song from the sequence, where she's just, I'll take it from here, and then here's the learning montage.
Yeah, Tarzan is the one who sings this song in the musical.
Because
and you have like
it's his song.
You have the slides just coming up on the stage around him. Of course, this begs the question, like, why did you bring all this stuff on the trip?
Why did she dress like that on the trip? I'm pretty sure they brought
that
only the necessities.
That can be explained. The British colonists, when they brought the women along, they still dressed up as they would in Britain, because they wanted to be civilized.
Right.
Yes, because heaven forbid a woman wear loose-fitting attire.
Also, this is
even in the jungle.
This is just beautiful. It keeps adding to this moment. Okay, why did they bring the black penny farthing?
And a bicycle. Maybe they thought they could use a bicycle at least. I don't know.
I mean, technically, but not a lot of pavement in Africa.
And she's being like those, what? Like, I don't know if guys ever do this, but girls tend to do this thing when they have a crush on someone. They doodle their names in the notebooks or sketch them out.
It's kind of what she's doing right now.
Yeah. Do guys do that? I actually don't know. Maybe they think maybe some think it's too girly.
I don't know. I mean, I imagine some would.
Well, you sketched me, so I guess close enough. And she's like, oh, but I love this.
And now she's absolutely matching Tarzan. It's like, now she's not wearing any yellow at all.
And she's wearing even less on her, no sleeves on that top there.
No, it's probably getting too hot outside.
Of course. Yeah. And she's barefooted, see?
Yeah. Like I said, it's getting too hot outside.
Cool.
Yeah.
This is such a cute little moment. It's like, yeah, this movie does their relationship way better than the books do. And just imagine, they don't really talk about it much, but being a woman in Victorian England, she's probably never felt this free.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, sure. I drew you, though. I drew you in stick figure.
Clayton's just not. He's just fed up.
Always loved how the animation just met all the beats here.
Yeah.
That way, every time I hear the song, I always see "I Want to Know," and then I see like the gorilla sketch.
Yeah.
And then Clayton tearing it up because it just works with the beat.
He's I think he's starting to understand. Like he understands a lot more than he did. Like, I don't know how long have they been. They said the boat arrived soon, so it's probably been like a couple of weeks.
I mean, he knows about mating, but he doesn't know about human mating.
But now he's picked up on the.
I told you when he like kissed her without consent, and then she slaps him. To his credit, he does realize, like, wait, so the ways of gorillas are probably not the ways of people. Yeah. Okay, now I know.
Yeah, it's probably been a couple of weeks, and now they're just ready to get out of here.
I mean, remember, this is like early 20th century England.
Oh.
She wants you to move in with her. Yeah, you realize we're gonna have to make this decision at some point too. I mean, we don't live in jungles, but we do live in separate places.
Yep. Man. It's like...
It hasn't been a year yet. Slow down.
I just love this moment. It's like... They feel the same.
And her hair!
Yeah.
Animating the hair. Why am I so obsessed with the way people animate hair in here?
Because just...
So fluffy.
Yeah.
Notice how Tarzan doesn't even touch the wine.
He doesn't even know what's going on here.
He just sets it back because that's what Clayton does.
Yeah. Tarzan see, he do.
I mean, England is
like...
all she's ever known. And it's the way she was raised, too. She was raised to be a proper lady and such. They even mentioned in the series where she went to finishing school. I remember in the musical where he was asking Turk to help him out. Only Turk, because they didn't have a giant elephant on stage.
Yeah.
What did he just go like, pouty face? Oh no!
She hasn't been wearing it for the past couple of weeks. She's dressed down quite a lot.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, how did any women in Victorian England move? Or breathe, for that matter.
Women in England must have learnt not to breathe.
Yeah.
She's
Thank
like,
Disney for not killing Kala off.
right?
She actually gets to meet Jane for one. Oh, she's really afraid of losing him now. It's like, she takes a moment. She's like, but that's your and then she gets, oh, so she's the one who took you in and raised you. Oh. And we get the parallel here that, Tarzan had been learning about her world, and then now she's learning about his, imitating him. Oh, so apparently the reason, aside from the Tarzan and Jane episodes, that the series isn't on Disney Plus is because of complications with the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate. There was that one episode where they had Edgar Rice Burroughs himself, so I don't know.
That might be the... Well, I mean, you could just have the whole series minus that episode. I don't think people would care all that much. Some people would, but like... This is why we need piracy, so that these things don't become lost media. So if you guys
like
can't
the Buzz
find
Lightyear series,
exactly,
you can't find anywhere, not even on DVD.
I want my Kronk.
Oh my god!
Kronk Lightyear.
He's having a dream. Okay, so there we go. You can see a little toy of little brother from Mulan in there.
Yep. The production of those movies would have been going on at the same time, so they would have been like, that'll be cute.
I love Jane's dad.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a goof, but he's a good dad. He does care about the gorillas.
Yeah.
He fits in really well, actually, with the gorillas. Oh, really not meant to be played with. Thank you. Gun safety, kids. Kids, don't touch those things. She's seeing him with a bunch of babies. They do have children in the book series.
Yeah.
And you see Kala's reaction to that.
Yeah.
Oh, Tarzan, that was a bit manipulative.
I mean,
I guess he really did think, is it my dress?
and
I just love the non-dialogue bits in this movie. Like, you can see what they're really saying just from their expressions. Yeah.
Oof. She kind of put the words together herself. She kind of picked up on that quick, by the way.
Yeah. Well, remember, she's an intellectual, so...
Too true, yeah, that is
And, she'd
true.
been teaching him all this time, and then she's like, okay, well, you can teach me now. Oh, jeez, but he really had him in a chokehold. You almost suffocated him.
Yep. This probably would have been the scene where Kerchak died.
Yeah. and then everyone else, even his own mother's like, wow, you just attacked the family leader. I mean, yeah, I don't blame Tarzan, but I mean, that's like a big no-no. It's like a big taboo, attacking the family leader. Even if we know why Tarzan did it.
Now, I don't know if it's lawyer talk or whatever, but like he said, I asked you to protect our family. He could obviously have been referring to himself and the gorillas. But there's that smidgen of doubt.
And he also led the humans to the family.
And that's
after
true.
He said no one is to go near them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, Disney consulted with adoptive family and you know, that difficult conversation of telling that your child that you're adopted.
Are their bodies still in the corner, just rotting there?
I imagine over time that probably some animals had just picked at the bones.
Yeah, so their bones, maybe they're overgrown. Because there's a lot of plants in here.
I will say in the books, Tarzan did find his old family cabin with the bones. Not realizing it's his family.
And there it is again. You'll be in my heart again. This bit of the score is called One Family. Oh, it's beautiful. Obviously, they won't show us any semblance of bones. I think we've already had enough. And I don't think Tarzan needs more trauma right now. And there it is.
But yeah, in the books, Tarzan taught himself how to read from the books that he found in his family's cabin, which I called bullshit on.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird. Kind of.
This makes more sense that he was learning from other people who actually knew the words.
Yeah.
Because no one could just instinctually know how to read words.
Yeah.
Yeah. You notice he didn't say mother. He didn't fully say mother because it's like, am I ma? Because, you know, Kala's his mom.
Right. Just a little bit
His father really does look like him.
Yeah.
Is it the with that chin there?
Yep. But he kept his mama's baby face if he didn't need to shave all those years.
And shows that he's chosen.
Yeah.
And she knows. Not much needs to be said here. Jeez.
No. God, this is so sad.
They really do this whole movie with saying as little as possible. It's brilliant.
God. As they're still playing the instrumental from the song.
Now see, this is why they had to keep Kala alive, so we could have this moment.
Yeah. It's just sad.
It's like, yeah, you know, you want him to be with Jane, but also, this is his mom. This is the only world he's ever known.
Yep.
Now, in the books, he does actually go back to the world of man, starting in France.
Yep.
For a very long time, too. Before eventually returning. Also, he got into a pretty scandalous affair with, like, a duchess or something.
Woof.
And Jane got engaged to Clayton.
Oh.
Aww.
Just...
That's how you know they're friends. Like, even when you're raging, they know why you're raging.
Yeah. Kipling, hey, a Jungle Book aside there.
Yeah. Although apparently those three were, I think it was like Kipling wasn't around at the same time as Queen Victoria, or at least not famous. But during Queen Victoria's rule or something. Or
Yeah.
The
But if
bottom
the
line is those three were not a thing at the same time.
But if Pirates in an Adventure with Scientists is anything to go on, which is an animated movie we're gonna have to watch at some point for the stuff, for these commentaries, Darwin and Queen Victoria did the same period of time.
Notice how she's in half yellow again.
Yep.
It's like she's transitioning, but you know, she's like, oh no, I'm still part of the human world.
Yeah.
But she still has the grass like skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They really do show Jane's back and forth between the jungle and the human world.
Yeah, because when she was really entrenched in the jungle, she had this red skirt, like they're very much in the sense of mud.
Yeah, see, look at their jawlines. They could very well still be cousins, but they just don't mention it.
I think it's one of those things with character design where it's like it can lead people to interesting theories.
But yes, Clayton wasn't a psychopathic hunter in the books. He was actually a pretty decent guy. You know, he protected Jane and all that.
Woof. I love how he is also just kind of a jerk initially, you know? Like, this isn't a turn. He's always been a bit, ugh, you know, from the beginning. He's always been a little shifty from the beginning. He's just, it's just that Tarzan...
Disney remember the time where Disney made it obvious who was the villain from the start?
Yeah.
By making them look like just a creepy jerk?
It's more so the point that, like, it's like the audience had these vibes about him, so the audience saw this coming. The characters didn't, and that's what hurts.
It's less obvious these Disney days. Like if if there is a villain at all.
Yeah,
if there is a villain at all, we don't learn till later.
Hey, a Jungle Cruise boat. Also, probably a little bit of a nod to the African Queen movie, which the Jungle Cruise was.
Okay, yes, Fizzy, there was a black market. Of course, a black market is any illegal market.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a new concept.
Yeah.
People have been like, you know, selling stuff under the table or
the internet
behind or in the alley.
The internet equivalent would be the dark web. Yeah.
Or, you know, like bootleg DVDs.
Yep. Whoop.
I did say that the voice of the professor was also Flute or Flam in the Black Cauldron, right?
I think you did mention that earlier, it just didn't come through very clear.
I mentioned it when we were watching the Black Cauldron.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, and I was doing it through text as well.
It's just such a funny little line read. Sometimes you embarrass me. It's like
because Turk said earlier that sometimes you embarrass me, so now it's the role reversal.
Just throwing it back in her face.
Yeah, she miserable. You happy now?
Oof.
It's Nigel Hawthorne. That's his name. Obviously, that was like a couple decades earlier.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear it in him.
Oof.
Yeah, now the whole jungle's awakening from this.
Yep.
Yeah. All the friends he's made over the years. All come to his aid.
Yeah.
Truly is king of the jungle.
Indeed. I love the contrasts. The red flares just lighting this whole scene. And then Tarzan running through the dark moonlit jungle. Or I guess maybe not moonlit. He's like, I imagine Clayton's like, is that my voice?
And the elephants.
And what do you know? The flares have died down, and now it's all blue again.
Animals unite!
Yeah, here we go. Well, yeah. Now it's gone beyond respect. See, it's like this is how it opens. I love how this is how it begins, right? It's like Kerchak is like surprised that he came back. Now they're working together. So we've already kind of had like a little peace of mind. Oh god, this bastard. I love it.
And Jane pulls her way too. And she knows that's Tarzan's mom too.
Yep.
She swings on the vines, takes what he's taught her.
Yeah.
And then the baboons.
Off they go.
She deserves to be a Disney princess because she marries the king of the jungle.
And look at her go. Look at her go. She even befriended the animal.
Yeah, she's a real step up from the book Jane.
I love that. That was great.
They work together.
Yep.
And they work together even more in the spin-off series.
Would you literally take a bullet and then, my god.
Well, they don't say this, but they do this thing where Tarzan is a fast healer.
Yep.
But even so, when you just shot in the arm, it ain't easy to climb a vine.
No, so yeah. God,
like,
the way they draw his face. And like,
it looks like at least hit the muscle there.
You can also see the facade dropped. Because, like, Clayton has been pretty good about keeping his hair neat, and now it's just, like, it's just in his eyes, it's not neat anymore.
Ooh, and this is a key moment.
Honestly, I think we need the Tarzan shoots cut, because that would at least be interesting.
Yes, but the point is...
Love that. That is so funny.
Yes. It's like,
now,
I don't
nobody
just
gets
kill
to use the gun.
It's like, I don't kill out of cold blood. Not like you.
Yeah. You're just a different kind of beast. And stop him. Stop him. And stop him.
And this is one of the darkest Disney deaths.
And this is kind of a Spider-Man moment when you think about it. Because I think we had that moment, like, in the first episode where he, like, webbed up Ox. It's like, I know you can break out of that, but I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah, and you know, Tarzan is not the one who kills him. It's Clayton's own...
Clayton really just, like... Yeah.
Okay, so who did not notice the shadow when they were a kid?
Me. I didn't notice. I did not notice.
I didn't notice for a very long time. They're like, oh shit.
Shit.
He was
indeed, yeah.
And then it rains because every time we have a very sad scene, it rains.
Yeah.
Very sad death.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the animation, like, for all of it, this movie probably has the most solid and consistent animation. The fact that this was not even considered for a Best Picture nomination at all is so surprising. Because when Beauty and the Beast was set up for, like, a Best Picture nomination, the fact that this didn't get it, probably because it wasn't a musical. Probably because Phil Collins sang the songs and not the characters. If they had gone if they'd gone all into it, you've always been, just God. Oh. Did win Best Song to the frustration of South Park fans. I think it was Blame Canada was up against this movie.
And those are his last words. He finally calls him his son. Because remember when in the beginning he's like he could stay.
Would I say this is darker? That
doesn't make him my son.
That's good. Would I say this is darker than Hunchback? And the answer is no. The reason is because there's something about
Hunchback went hard on a lot of things.
There's something about there's something about Frollo being humanized with the song Hellfire that makes him a scarier villain than Clayton, who doesn't even get a song. Like, imagine if we'd gotten this as the traditional Disney musical. Clayton still wouldn't get a song, but I think we'd still at least, you know, have a better chance of this getting nominated for Best Picture, because this movie is really, really good. And the songs are good too.
Here we go.
Like, they're good songs.
Here we go. And here we go. Without saying anything, here is that decision. And he's walking fully like an ape.
Yeah.
It's like, nope. I may be a man, but I'm also an ape. And I am the leader now. And, you know, and they understand too.
Yeah. No, see, it's not the songs, Squad. It's the context in which they exist. It's that Tarzan wants to know about the strangers like him, but he doesn't sing it to us.
Yeah, like your world was so small before.
And the jungle is so big.
Why'd you do it with the left hand? Why do they always do it with the left hand in these movies?
I don't know. I mean, why in the army do they ask you to step with your left foot first? Left, right, left, you know?
Oh, and getting the hands.
Yeah.
Are you finally starting to understand what it is about the hands, Jane?
Man, I think she does.
Because look at how she's staring at her hand. She's like, what were you trying to say? That we are... And, you know, and then she puts the glove on there and she stares at that and, like... You know, only one hand has a glove. This is why he's one of the best Disney dads. He doesn't object to this at all. And then the glove flies off.
Yeah. Oh. God, best dad award?
I'm sorry. It's just because anytime someone shakes hands, they naturally go for the right hand.
that completely impractical dress just getting wasted in the ocean.
Yeah, I know. She's like, screw. Yeah, but she's like, yo, screw this dress. And then she's the one who goes
in for the kiss.
I like how they reversed that, because in the book he was the one who went in for the kiss first, but no. And then I love that look on him. He's like, oh, that was new, but I liked it. So like, this how it's supposed to go? Yeah, that's how it's supposed to go. Oh. Because, you know, he wouldn't know what a kiss is.
He wouldn't, really. Yep.
Yes, Once Upon a Time never had any Tarzan references. I imagine they had a hard time finding where to put it. And I love how the dad sings too. I mean, you
I love that. I love it. I mean, people get lost in the jungle all the time, right? It's just great. Disney hasn't done much with Tarzan because of Edgar Rice Burroughs.
And then she takes her hand.
Yeah.
Oh, and she's like, I got it.
Uh-huh.
And that comes back into play.
Yep.
And here we go.
Now completely dressed in brown.
Yes. And a lot more practical for the jungle.
And then even her dad's in a loincloth.
My psychology of gender professor criticized Jane's final attire. I'm like, but it makes sense because now she's in the jungle where it's hot and
hot, humid, rains 9 days out of the whole year. Well, no, probably not 9 days out of the whole year. Like a lot of days out of the year.
Yes,
like,
and now
it rains
and also
a lot.
the fact that now she's free. She's free from the confines of Victorian England and propriety and all that.
Exactly.
Of course, in the spin-off series, she wears more her yellow top and the green grass skirt.
Yeah.
Uh,
Probably because you wouldn't be allowed to have her wear that in a weekly Saturday morning cartoon for kids. She's basically just wearing a swimsuit. It's like...
Yeah, this movie, I think, is one of the more underrated ones of the Renaissance. It's pretty much considered the end of the Disney Renaissance, and it's so...
And you know what?
They don't talk about this as much.
I think they have a good reason why they call this the end of the Disney Renaissance, because it's a real high note to go out on, you know? Cap supervisors. Have a lot of people on the story. Additional screenplay material by David Reynolds and Jeffrey Stepikoff. The visual development, the character design. The Journeyman.
But yeah, put it this way. If you were a fan of this movie, you would not like the book series.
Basically.
Because it is so dated.
Oh, and the supervising animators. Could have sworn I saw Mark Hen's name in there somewhere. Rosie O'Donnell for Turk. Brian Blessed for Clayton. Nigel Hawthorne for Porter. Lance Kendrickson for Kerchak. Tantor, Wayne Knight. It's the Chicken Man! Captain and Thugs, animated by D.T. Daniel.
Mama Zerg would be so proud.
Yes. The cleanup animation for Tarzan and Jane.
Wayne Knight did a lot for Disney in the 90s, didn't he? I mean, because he was in Hercules.
That's right.
For like that one role.
He was in Hercules for that one-off character. He was here as Tantor. He was Al. He was Al in Toy Story 2 and Zurg in the TV series.
Uh-huh. And you can't even tell because he's really pulling off that
Tony
evil
Anselmo
dictator.
for Porter's lead key. Lead key in animation.
Wait, hold on. What's next? Are we going just fully music in the next lineup?
Yeah. Fantasia 2000 is gonna be our next one, yeah.
Yeah. Which fun fact was the very first movie to come out in the new millennium.
Yes, the first movie to come out in December of 1999, actually.
Well, no, because they released it right after midnight.
December 19th, 1999. If I'm correct. Let me double check that.
No, they had like this premiere that was like right like the after midnight on January 1st.
And yet I'm getting the release of December 17th, 1999. Pretty much every source aside from Disney themselves is saying it actually premiered in 1999. That's really funny.
Okay, whatever.
But yes, it definitely was at the turn of the century.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
But man, what a beautiful
This movie's
movie.
great. I enjoy watching the stage show. I mean, my German's pretty limited, but you know, knowing the story, I could like I understood enough to know what was going on every point.
All right, give it up to Ruth Lambert and Mary Hidalgo for the casting, because you always got to give credit to your casting director, especially when you get. And then there's the London casting consultant. Hell yeah.
There's Jason Marsden in there.
Yeah, Jason Marsden.
Chris Sanders is in the additional voices.
Likely, maybe doing some animal noises as well. Then again, D. Bradley Baker might have been in there somewhere as well. I mean, at this point, you probably had like Frank Welker, D. Bradley Baker, maybe Chris Sanders for your go-to animal noises. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I wish they would release the Legend of Tarzan series. That was like one of the Disney shows that premiered in Poland too. So, I watched that a lot. I think Scribe mentioned it, the episode where Clayton's sister comes to the jungle to take revenge on her brother's death.
Yeah.
And the one where Jane finds a leopard cub.
Special thanks to the support staff.
And Tarzan goes all like, no, it's a leopard, get rid of it. And then Carla's like, well, excuse me, when I brought you in, you remember, you know how Kerchak acted? Just like you are. Huh.
Distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution.
Yeah, Commodore Fluffy Paws, as Turk and Tantor called him.
I gotta say, great movie. It's like the storytelling is on point. The voice cast and the songs are great. I like the songs. I do like the songs.
It's a shame none of the voice cast reprised their roles in the series.
I mean, can you imagine them being able to afford Rosie O'Donnell for all those episodes? I certainly can't.
I guess not. I think she had her own show at that point too.
But if you want to hear a younger April Winchell, the voice of Sylvia in Wander Over Yonder, or the voice of the mother in the opening of Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
or Black Heron,
yes, Black Heron. She was Black Heron in the DuckTales reboot. That's right. If you want to hear her, she was Turk. She was Turk in The Legend of Tarzan. So if you want to find The Legend of Tarzan TV series, just find it, because if Disney's not going to release it, yar har fiddly dee. But like, I gotta admit, like, the only one who really sounded close to the original voice was Jim Cummings as Tantor. I guess they
yeah, that makes sense. Jim Cummings is the impressionist, so
I guess they couldn't double book Wayne Knight between Tarzan and the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command series. Because they would have been working on the series at that time and only released it when Toy Story 2 came out, which was in... Toy Story 2 was 1999 too, wasn't it?
No, 1998, I think. Yeah, I remember I was young enough to remember going to the movie theater.
Toy Story 2...
I had my own Woody doll.
Toy Story 2 was November 24th, 1999. Disney was...
Oh, it was 99.
Disney was busy that holiday season with Toy Story 2 and Fantasia 2.
No, you're right. 98, I think, was Bug's Life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because between Toy Story 2 in November and then Fantasia 2000 in December, 1999's holiday season was busy for Disney box office. But of course, both those films were... Well, at least Toy Story 2 made bank, so... Most people probably were going to that, even though Fantasia 2000 was a new thing. It's like, I think Fantasia 2000 did well enough in DVD sales. I think Disney always recouped the cost of their movies in DVD sales.
I'm gonna have an interesting. I remember going to Fantasia 2000 for the first time, and let's just say, initially, I was a very cranky toddler. Well, not toddler. No, wait. I would have been 5, so no, 4, 5, something like that.
Yeah. Gonna see Wish with your girlfriend, Scribe? That sounds awesome. Sounds awesome.
That sounds very awesome.
I'm gonna say, I think Fantasia 2000, as a kid, I never knew the original Fantasia, and for Fantasia 2000, I definitely got a kick out of it, but we'll get to that next week. As for this movie,
yeah, we will.
God, this movie was gorgeous. God, just absolutely beautiful. It's just awesome. I mean, the way Disney adapts this into their own, well, they obviously have the characters and the general story to take from, and the way they're able to make it their own and make it something
better,
making it something good. Like you said, they make it a really good thing, and it's like, honestly, there's a reason this film, this movie definitely sticks, right? I definitely see a lot of people saying Tarzan is one of their favorites. But, I don't see Tarzan being called anyone's favorite. Not that I know of. I'm sure there's people out there who say Tarzan is their favorite. But again, the fact that this movie is not a musical is probably one of the reasons why the songs just don't hit as hard as they could. It's they're good songs. And I feel like Disney, this movie is 1999, so Disney saw the release of Toy Story in 1995 and saw how it was relatively successful. It was super successful, and it also had songs sung by a single artist throughout the movie, embodying the characters' feelings in those scenes, right? But I feel like what works about Toy Story and what doesn't work about this movie is something about the tone, right? Toy Story has us set in this very, like, modern setting, and the thing is, like, Randy Newman was not only responsible for singing and, like, writing the songs, he was also responsible for the score of the film. So there's a congruence with how the score sounds and how the songs in Toy Story sound. But in Tarzan, these peppy pop songs, like all of them very pop songs by Phil Collins, are kind of at odds with the film's orchestral score in a way, you know? I feel like when you're doing music in a movie like this, it feels like it's like you can have good songs and a good score, but if they don't fit together, like in Shrek they fit together, in Guardians of the Galaxy they fit together, and those are examples of where they're just taking other people's songs. But if you want songs that exist in the context of the story, that again aren't being sung by the characters but are originally created for the movie, Toy Story, like, I'm pretty sure, like, all three movies, all three Toy Story movies, they have the songs integrate really well. I just don't think, like, I think the more I go back on Tarzan, the more it's like the songs feel disconnected from the characters. They're good songs, but, you know.
You're a musical purist, aren't you?
Well, doggone it, yes.
Yes, you are. It shows. I personally think the music works for this movie because, you know, you got, like, all these montage scenes where you have the singing, and
yeah, but I mean, like,
I think it works because they're like pop, kind of gets that action feel to it.
But you can't exactly give that. You can't exactly give that excuse about it. Well, they have to be montage songs because you have literally the song from last week. The songs from last week were all in their own way montages. Some were over short periods of time, like Honor to Us All, and some of them were over long stretches, like Make a Man Out of You.
Okay.
That's what the animated screen can do.
Right, you want to be real pure there. Mulan only had like what, 3 songs?
That's true.
4.
It didn't really help to yeah. I think between Mulan and Tarzan, there's like a good middle ground. It's like the number of songs from Tarzan. Like, what do we got? We like 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 songs in this movie too. I mean, Trash in the Camp, sure, but like.
Right, writers asking about overall thoughts on the Disney Renaissance. What? It wasn't clear. I think we pretty much. I think our thoughts are pretty clear.
Well, I think going over it, like as a collective of movies, there's something about the transition, right? Like, we start out with like The Little Mermaid, right, which feels very much feelings. It very much feels like your classic Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella, and with just a slightly more epic scale that Disney was capable of by the time they got to The Great Mouse Detective, right? Like, they really...
And then you had the Awkward Rescuers bits, which was more of an experiment in animation than anything.
Let's be honest, it was basically like a tech demo for the studios. Like, let's see what we can do with this new, animation technology. And, it's a pretty movie.
Which... To be fair, we needed for stuff like Beauty and the Beast and Lion King to happen.
Lion King, Hunchback, and these films would not have succeeded nearly as well. It's like, here's the thing, right? The transition isn't Pocahontas, because Pocahontas came before Hunchback. After Hunchback, we got Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan, which feel like Disney pushing in a new direction. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, like they're going more on the epic adventure kind of scale.
They're going epic adventure, highly comedic, and still musical. Like they're definitely like it's like, whereas like Hunchback backward, it's like you had your comedy moments, but they also felt like a classic. They also felt like a classic Broadway production, which doesn't make Tarzan or Hercules or Mulan any less, Broadway style productions. It just makes them a very different flavor,
But they're also steering away from the fairy. They're also steering away from the fairy tale a little bit, and
Yeah.
and try to do something a little different.
I think
which
that
we'll
also,
see a bit more of when we get to, well, after Fantasia.
that's true.
The earlier
That
part
is
of
definitely
the
true.
2000s.
Because, like, I mean, yeah, because the fairy tale is where the Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and no, that's about it. Because once we get to Hunchback and Pocahontas, we're really adapting a very different sort. Hunchback still feels with the same, it has the same vibe as Beauty and the Beast's fairy tale style, but it also, in itself, kind of puts itself in the point of like, okay, we're
Pocahontas and Hunchback was essentially Disney's like, okay, now let's do social drama.
yeah, basically. Hunchback definitely did it better. Like, still not perfect,
Of
but
course it
better.
did. Of course it did.
But overall, the Renaissance, honestly, you think of the Renaissance like, oh, this is the era of Disney where all the films were grand, and it's like, yeah, Beauty and the Beast, Hunchback, and Little Mermaid, and Aladdin and Lion King were all grand. But then you had, like, Aladdin kind of set the precursor to what would eventually become Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan, with its highly comedic musical style. So, in a way, it all feels congruous, and at the same time, all the films feel very different, which I think is a great thing. And going forward, we're not going to have a lot of movies feeling different in aesthetics and tone. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where Disney stops experimenting, and, for good reason, but also for also their detriment. But we'll get to the.
We're running out of movies too.
We're running out of movies. Eventually, we'll find the movies where they do. We're gonna see a good one next week. Not a great one, but a good one.
Okay, but if I were to like pick any 10 years between Disney, it would definitely that would have been like. The best, objectively, it's of course 1989 to 1999.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And as it stands, that's going to be it for this week. Thank you all so much for joining us on this epic adventure. And if you're viewing this after the fact, thanks for watching. And until next time, remember to take care, stay safe, and be kind in all that you do. Good night, everybody!